Hey guys, so I'm starting this a little bit earlier than I expected to. I still have really about an hour, but the soup's been coming along very nicely, and I wanted to show you the final stages to the soup. The next phase, or the next thing that you'll see after this, will be the actual plating of the dish, which I'll take a picture of later. But the sauce, or the soup I should say, has been going on now for about 4.5 hours. When I originally told you guys, I originally said it would be somewhere around anywhere from 3 to about 5 hours, depending on how much you wanted to do the soup. I initially did say that I was going to do it for what looked to be about 5 hours, but everything's been going very smoothly. The calamari stew has been cooking very nicely as far as the broth. The final stages is actually the fish, and the reason why we want to do the fish at the end, obviously we don't want to overcook it. Seafood very quickly can get very gummy and really lose its consistency, and you don't want that when you're making anything like this with a stew. It could be linguine with clam sauce, it could be anything of that nature where you're using a seafood. So ideally you want to use that towards the last bit of placement into your dishes. So what we got here left, I have got the minced clams, which I'm going to take the wrapping out because I didn't want my house to stink of clams today. But it's roughly about 2 pounds of clam meat, which I'll show you a picture of in 2 seconds. Alright, so we got the clam meat, and most of these meats or these seafoods are already going to be pre-cooked already. So if you're buying the mussels, you know, ideally in the soup, this is what I want to use. It's nice to have the shells, but it's not that type of a dish. In the shells, you're dealing with, you're dealing with a little bit more work. This is a soup, so you want to try to have everything as kind of like a quick go. We've also got the mahi-mahi, which I've diced up. This is 8 ounces of mahi-mahi. You also have 16 pieces, which is roughly about 16 to 20 pieces a pound of shrimp. So these are 16 pieces, and as you'll see, I cut these in halves, or some pieces even in quarters. And then the biggest thing of the dish, the galamad. You got the galamad sliced up. You got the tentacles ready to go, which is for any Italian, as Benny is watching. Any Italian will tell you, you gotta have the galamad with the tentacles. One of the most important things towards the end of this dish, though, is actually, believe it or not, the lemon. The lemon is what's going to cut out the acid, is going to add the acid, I should say, and cut out a lot of the salt that you're going to add. Now, you're going to have some heat off of that roasted red pepper, crushed red pepper. So when you're using a crushed red pepper, if you don't like it too spicy, don't add that much. Believe it or not, a teaspoon actually goes pretty far. But if you do like the heat, by all means add the teaspoon of red pepper. Be careful with it, because in a soup, the longer the crushed red pepper sits, the longer the heat. It can get pretty hot after a little bit of time. All right, so we've got the soup going right now, and we've had it on a medium-low temperature, or medium-low boil, for the last 4 hours. So what I'm going to go ahead now is I'm going to include the clams into the dish, the shrimp, and the mahi and the galamad. The mussels are going to be the last thing that I'm going to include, and the reason being is because it's already really fully cooked, including the clams, but they won't get a rubbery on too short of a period. So let me grab the fishes, let me grab the shrimp. Alright, gonna drop it right in. That's really what we're doing here, folks. So I'm pretty sure we got a pretty good angle on that. Alright, literally just drop it right in. Obviously, when you're dealing with the shrimp, you want to make sure that the tails are off. You don't want the tails in this. It's really not that kind of a dish. Again, you're dealing again with a soup. In about 8 minutes or so, the shrimp will start becoming that pink color. Mahi-mahi, on the other hand, will turn more into a white. So from a pale color, this will turn more into a white color. It won't flake too much. It'll hold its consistency, but again, it will flake a little bit. But you're looking for the pieces over there. The galamad is all going in. Obviously, when you're buying calamari, make sure that you do double check it to make sure that it doesn't have the plastic, which is also known as the membrane, inside of the actual tube itself. It feels like plastic, but believe it or not, it's actually that membrane. With this particular calamari, I was able to use a whole block, which you could buy at the supermarket. When you're buying them at the block, wait until they're about a good quarter of the way defrosted, and then you can slice it. When you slice it at that point, you'll get more consistency on the rings and the tentacles itself. If you wait till they're fully defrosted, you can still do the dish that way, but it just becomes a little bit more of a slip hazard and a pain in the ass to cut. So ideally, you would want to either use it defrosted. I personally do like to have it where it still has a little bit of frost to it so that it's easy to work with. Alright, so as you can see, I've added the calamari, I've added the shrimp, I've added the mahi-mahi. I'm going to bring my temperature up on the stove. Now I'm going to bring it up to about a half a medium boil. It's already looking incredible, and it's not even fully cooked, but just to kind of give you guys a quick glance at this, let me get my camera for a second so just work with me. Alright, pretty sure you guys can see that. Alright, now watch this. Look at all that. See how quickly it's already cooking? The calamari is already blowing out. The shrimp is already curling up. Pretty sure you can get a good view of that. Alright. Mahi-mahi's in there. It doesn't take long. It usually takes anywhere from 8, maybe even 10 minutes, but you know, it's cooking perfectly. It's actually cooking really perfectly. So because it's cooking the way it is, I'm going to add the clams, and then while I get this going, I'm then going to drop in the mussels. Alright, clams are in. And then finally, we're going to add the mussels. Now again, the mussels are fully cooked. These do get rubbery if you overcook them, but this dish is technically maybe about 5 minutes away from being about done. At which point then I'll add the lemon juice. Also keep in mind, I have on here, I mentioned about garlic bread. So realistically, garlic bread is very, very simple to make. And all you're doing with the garlic bread is getting a loaf of bread, slicing it down the middle, long ways, and got a runaway shrimp. You don't want to include that now because technically half your dish is already cooked. With garlic bread, it's actually the simplest things in the world to make garlic bread. And for some of you people who don't know, here it is. We have people cleaning around in my house. Taking a loaf of bread, slicing it long ways. Now you got 2 pieces. A lot of people like to melt their butter. A lot of people like to just add dry herbs. I'll do both. In this particular menu, in this particular case, I'm actually going to make these into discs or croutons, whatever you want to call it. So what I'll actually do in this particular case is cut it across. So I'll show you quickly how I will do this. And this will be done a little later when I'm actually ready to eat their dinner. See if I can get a good angle on the bottom of this. You know what? I'll cut it and then I'll show you what I'm looking at. So the heel of the bread is not really ideal to use, but what you're looking to do is getting your crostinis, or whatever you want to call them. What I will do with these is these will actually get lathered in olive oil. Then I'm going to hit it with granulated garlic. Granulated garlic. Castella, again, how do you like that? I'm going to drop some parsley flakes on it. There'll be some grated cheese that I'll put on. Some grated Romano. And what I'll do is I'll sprinkle that, bake it in the oven for at the most 2 minutes, because I'm not looking for it to burn, but I'm looking for it to get a nice little crunch consistency to it. Again, the reason why I'm not going to show you a video on that is because dinner's not ready. This particular part of the dish, and I'll show you again a nice quick close-up of this seafood. It's actually coming along perfectly, quite honestly. Let me get this going here. Again, I'm going to, the ladle, kind of just give you guys a really good quick glimpse of this. So inside of here, you've got clams, mussels, mahi-mahi, calamari, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but if not, shrimp. So all that seafood is in here. And this is really a soup. It's really designed to be eaten as a soup. Now, you can go a lot further with this, with what we got here. You can get yourself some pasta, make it into a pasta dish. You know, you're practically on the way to a fra diavolo. If you wanted a little more heat, that's your fra diavolo, which is your spiciness. You can make this into a mild sauce as well. But this is a soup, so with this particular intent, you could use it with rice, you could do it with couscous, you could do it with any kind of whole grain. You could even do a dill pasta and just eat it in such a nature. Or you could eat it just as is. So, let's have a lot of fun with this then. Alright, got myself a bowl. I can't eat much of this ever since the surgery, but I'm looking forward to eating this. So let's get there. Alright. Ladle's over there. Alright, have a little fun here. Who's in there?
Right here.
Oh, who's that?
Me.
Oh, hello, princess.
With me.
Hey, you gonna say hello? Say hi.
Hi.
See the camera?
What?
Say hello on the camera?
Hi.
Hi. You know you got like a couple of things in that nose that gotta get cleaned out real quick, right? Can't keep it any more real than that, guys.
Who is it?
Ah, it's just some daddy talking to some of his friends.
Who is it?
Alright, so now, here we go. As you can see, I only got a little bit. Purpose being because I can't really eat that much. So, am I going to do the Rachel Ray? Mmm, nice. Or the Bobby Flay. Or the Joe. You know what, guys? This came out good. Has a little bit of a heat on the first hit, but it goes quickly. The broth is perfect, guys. So, thank you all for watching. We've got, again, a nice calamari stew, which are really, really good. Definitely different from what you're used to, for sure, and what you've probably heard. But it's a treat. All right, clams, mussels, shrimp, mahi-mahi, calamari, and a nice tomato broth. It's a soup. It's got carrots in it. It's got the onions. It's got celery in it for your flavor. The chicken broth or vegetable stock, whichever one you want to use. A little bit of white wine, some shallots, fresh garlic. It's a treat. I hope you give it a shot. Got the ingredients on my prior post. A little later, like I said, I will be posting the dish, and I'm going to be shutting this off because I don't want this to now overcook. But the last thing is that lemon that I was telling you about. Oh, hello, Joe. Hello. All right. And again, the lemon is there because that's just cutting the acid down. Well, adding the acid to the dish. I keep saying it the other way around. But it's an acid that will cut down a lot of the proteins inside of this, and the salt as well. All right. Give it a good stir. Cover it up. And when you're ready to eat, Maggio. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm still recording. I gotta stop this thing. All right, where are we? Yeah.